Alright, so page 2, we are finding first off the surface area and volume of a sphere. We want to leave our answers in terms of pi, it tells us that. And we have two situations. The first sphere has a radius of 5, and the second sphere has a diameter of 18. Okay, so in situation A, I'm just going to plug in the formulas. So surface area equals 4 pi r squared. I'm going to plug in 5 for my radius, so 4 pi times 5 squared. So that is 100 pi. For volume, I'm going to use 4/3 pi r cubed. So I'm going to plug in 4/3 times 5 cubed. And again, if you want to see what that looks like on the calculator, 4/3 times 5 cubed is going to look like this. And I messed up here, so you're just going to have to wait till I get through this, and then I realized I made a mistake and I have to go back. Okay? Okay, now I'm going back and doing the correct one. So 4/3 times 5 cubed this time, which is what I should have done the first time. Again, you get a decimal, but I don't want you to give me a decimal, right? So do answer to fraction, and you get 500/3, so that's 500/3 pi. Okay, for B, diameter of 18 means radius is 9, half of 18. So again, surface area equals 4 pi r squared, or 4 pi times 9 squared. 4 times 9 squared is 324 pi. And then for your volume, 4/3 times 9 cubed. 4/3 times 9 cubed, you can put that right in your calculator. 4/3 times 9 cubed is 972 pi. Again, leave your answers in terms of pi. Okay, number 6. The volume of a sphere is 288 pi. Find the surface area. So you want to start with what they give you, so you start with the volume. Volume equals 4/3 pi r cubed. You know the volume is 288 pi, so plug it in for volume. And you're going to solve for the radius. You're going to cross out pi on both sides, and you're going to divide both sides by 4/3. So it'll be 288 divided by 4/3. Again, you can use your calculator to do 288 divided by 5/3, but when you do that, you're going to get 216. And then you're going to take the cube root of both sides. Now to do that, you have a function under your math key. It'll say 3 square root symbol. And then you put in 216. That's called the cube root. So if you take the cube root, you're going to get your radius as 6. So now with your radius as 6, you're going to use now and find the surface area. So surface area equals 4 pi r squared. So that's 4 pi 6 squared, and 4 times 6 squared is 144 pi. All right. Now for the next one, number 7 is kind of a tricky one. The reason is because you have a cube and a sphere. Okay? The cube and the sphere both have a volume of 1,000 centimeters cubed. The cube isn't too bad, because you know all sides of the cube are the same. So if you say volume is equal to each side, so side times side times side is side cubed. That's where I got the s cubed from. So 1,000 equals s cubed. Again, take the cube root, and each side of the cube is going to be 10, because 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. Okay? So to find the surface area, all 6 sides are the same of a cube, and I find the area of a cube by a square by doing 10 times 10. So 10 times 10 is 100. 100 times 6 is 600. Now the sphere is going to get messy, so I encourage you to give me a decimal approximation for the sphere. Okay? So again, this is what the formula is going to look like. 1,000 equals 4/3 pi r cubed. Now, you don't have a pi to cross out on both sides. So therefore, you have to divide by 4/3 pi and take the cube root of that. So that gets kind of messy. So that's why I said just give a decimal approximation. So take 1,000, divide it by the quantity of 4/3 times pi. And see, I'm going to go back and put another parenthesis because I divide by that whole thing. Okay? So divided by 4/3 pi, and I'm going to get a decimal. Now I have to take the cube root of that to solve for the radius. Okay, so if I take the cube root of that answer, I'm going to get about 6.204 for my radius. Okay, now I'm going to take that radius of 6.204 and plug it into my surface area formula. So surface area equals 4 times pi times 6.204 squared, and I kind of squeezed that in, sorry about that. And then you just evaluate that whole thing. So you do 4, and I'm going to square 6.203 first, and then I'm going to multiply that by pi and by 4. And I'm going to get about 483.598 for my answer. Okay. So that one's a little bit tricky because you don't have pi on both sides to cancel out. And this would be the only time where a decimal approximation would be appropriate because the numbers get too confusing otherwise. Okay? For number 8, we have a cube and a ball inside the cube. If one side of my cube is 12, what's the radius of the ball? 6. So you take the radius of 6 and you plug it into the volume formula. So you have a big ball and a cube. Okay, the side of the cube is 12, which means the radius of the ball is half of that, which is 6. So volume equals 4/3 pi times 6 cubed. 4/3 times 6 cubed is 288 inches cubed. Okay? We'll do questions in a minute. Okay, number 9, 10 are really quick, and number 11 you actually aren't going to have to do. So let me just talk about 9 and 10 real quick, and then we'll go over questions. So perimeter is 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, which is 5 times 4 is 20. Area is 5 times 5, which is 25, and volume is 5 times 5 times 5, which is 125. Same thing with a sphere. And a circle, circumference is 2 pi r, which is 10 pi. Area is pi r squared, which is 25 pi. And we also did the last blank in number 5. So that answer we already found in number 5. So that's 5/3 pi. And again, you don't have to do number 11. In case you were interested in what the answers are, though, the great circles are 3 to 4. The areas, surface areas, are 9 to 16. And the volumes are 27 to 64. And then, hold on.